We are inching closer and closer. Before you know it, the end of this week, Saturday, the calendar flips to March. And a couple weeks after that, it will be the NFL free agency frenzy, where teams will put their offseason plans into effect. They will try to improve their rosters ahead of the NFL draft in April, and we are going to start to see the groundwork laid for that this week. We'll touch in hour number 2 of the program about it being Combine Week and that getting underway later on this week. Runs through the weekend, media availability starting for coaches and GMs over the next 2 days, and then we'll start getting into the workouts. We'll get to that in hour number 2 of the program. But I used the word bold, and I asked if it is a word that we could use to apply to the Arizona Cardinals and their offseason plans. What would a bold offseason look like for this team? If we're going to use that word, we're going to say they had a bold offseason, what would it look like? And to me, it would be a heavy investment across multiple phases of the offseason into revamping this offensive line. We've said this before on the show that we think the approach for this team should be as follows. Pass rush via free agency. And that means in all phases and fashions, top end of the market, the middle part of the market, the 1-year flyer prove-it deal end of the market, but also attacking the draft, even though you have limited picks, taking multiple swings at trying to find your Myles Garrett, your Max Crosby, and also not shying away from if a team would ask for your first-round pick, trading it for an impact pass rusher. That's bold to me. It would be bold for Monty Ossenfort to trade his first-round pick for a pass rusher. It would be bold to use the draft, trades, free agency to get multiple guys in the building at one position. That's bold. That is making a statement. We think this is the missing piece. We think we are just an overhaul of this group away from winning this division, from hosting a playoff game, from breaking through in year 3. And truthfully, could you blame them for thinking that today? Now, I hear you. Concerns about Kyler Murray, concerns about the way he played in the second half, concerns about the second halves that he has played his entire career, how he has played in November and December in meaningful football games, how he's played against the NFC West. Don't worry, I hear you and your concerns. But this team was 6-4 going into their bye week last year. They came out of that bye week into their final stretch of games, and they didn't play well. Kyler didn't play well. That home game against Seattle, one of the worst performances I think he's had in his career, considering the circumstances, considering what was at stake. Took his team out of the game before we could even get to the second quarter. So I hear you. But we also need to face the truth that they didn't have a pass rush all year. Some of these games are different if the defense can get after the quarterback. And Kyler still has a pretty decent floor and a pretty decent ceiling as a quarterback. I think you can get to the playoffs with Kyler Murray. You need the right pieces around him. In my past life, working in the NFL draft space, I had multiple people that taught me a phrase, and you might hear me use it quite a bit in the lead up to the draft when we start talking about these quarterbacks. Sometimes there's a quarterback who's a truck, and sometimes there's a quarterback who's a trailer. What do I mean by that? The truck, the engine behind the wheel, carrying the trailer, carrying the rest of the team, being able to put the team on his back, being able to carry that team. Some quarterbacks are trailers where they're great, but they need somebody else to carry them. I'll give you a perfect example of a quarterback that I think is a trailer, not a truck, but I think a quarterback you can win with. Jared Goff in Detroit. I don't know if he's a truck. I think he's more of a trailer. I think Kyler Murray is more of a trailer than he is a truck. I think he needs the right pieces around him, needs the right structure around him in order to succeed. But I think you can succeed with him. Part of putting those pieces around him is investing heavily into fixing up this defense, fixing up this front seven. So bold to me would be we get to June, July, and we're talking about a team that traded their first-round pick for Myles Garrett. that spent free agency money on Milton Williams and Josh Sweat. That's bold. We're going all in. We're pushing all the chips in the middle. We're going to overpay for those guys. We're going to trade a first-round pick. That's bold. Plausible? Realistic? No, but that's bold. That's what that word means to me. That's what I would want to see if you told me they were going to have a bold offseason. So when ESPN put out a story going through all 32 teams and talking about what would make a bold offseason, and the boldness being for the Cardinals just taking some players off of San Francisco's aging and old defense, that's not bold to me. That is complacency. That is safe. That is stealing players from a team that's had success and just trying to catch some lightning in a bottle. You may say signing Milton Williams, signing Josh Sweat would be the same thing, right? Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, a lot younger than the options that you would be taking off of the San Francisco 49ers defense. Here is another important question that we will only get answered through actions. In order to be bold, the Cardinals might have to go past their limits in the past. What do I mean by that? Here is the active cash that has been spent by the Arizona Cardinals over the last 5 years. In 2020, they were 15th in the league with $180.4 million. In 2021, they were 12th in the league with $169 million. Now, these first couple of numbers are going to be weird here because of the COVID years and the way that they smoothed the cap and the numbers. But in 2022, they were 31st at $108.3 in active cash. In 2023, they were 27th with $158.4 million. And last year, they were 24th in the league in active cash spend at $191.7 million. Right now, they currently sit at $161.4 million and in 28th spot. Over the last 4 years in active cash spend, they've been towards the bottom of the league. Will they change course? Will there be a renewed sense of aggressiveness in terms of the dollars that they have committed? Active cash spend over the last 5 years, they have not gone past the $200 million mark. They got close last year at 191.7. They're currently sitting at 161.4. So $30 million would take them to the number that they had last year. If they wanted to go beyond that, they would enter territory that we have not seen them have over the last 5 years. So will they be bold? That would be bold. That would be something different. That would be something we haven't seen Michael Bidwell and multiple front offices do. And the last 2 years, you can directly look at Monty Ossenfort and say you spent 27th and 24th in active cash over the last 2 years. You were bottom third of the league in that regard. Are you now all of a sudden going to be back toward where you were in 2020 and 2021, where you're top half of the league? That would be bold. That would tell me that they are pushing their chips into the middle, that they're going for it. So do we expect them to go beyond their past history? That's how you're bold. You're bold by throwing every resource you have at solving your pass rush issue and not caring that you may overpay, that you may invest too many resources. It is a problem that doesn't just need a Band-Aid, it needs major surgery. And the only way to perform that surgery is to throw everything that you have at it. Dollars, cap space, draft picks, trades, everything. You need to throw everything at the wall and see what is able to stick. That's bold. Taking players from the San Francisco 49ers defense in free agency, wouldn't describe that as bold.